In Taurus, the capital of the Cathedral region in the Kingdom of Styria, a new visitor arrives at the Adventurers Guild, a magic swordsman named Alec Deer. He recognizes some people there, but most faces are new to him since he came back here after 4 years. As he reaches the reception, he is welcomed by the guild master, Zach Seal, who says how Alec has been on this last quest for a long time. While shaking Zach's hand, Alec says how it is a surprise that Zach became the guild master, but it was kind of expected from this rank adventurer. Zach chuckles in reply while saying how he just filled the empty position and adds that Alec is going to be an S-rank adventurer soon because every request he makes is bound to be fulfilled. Zach is surprised when Alec quickly figures out that he has a request and explains that it is manticore suppression far in the Fibria Weldwood. Even though the difficulty of this quest is A-level, he still can't build a perfect team for this task. Looking at the quest sheet, Alec is thinking about how people will hardly agree to this job, while Zach further explains that in the Fibria Weldwood, Alec will have to fight the magical beast for almost 2 weeks. The forest is very muddy, so the air will be very clingy, which will make this long journey very difficult for him on the salty field, with uncomfortable sleeping places. Alec murmurs that he will have to sleep outside again, and Zach quickly adds that if he accepts this request, he will hand over his secret weapon. Seeing Alec's confusion, Zach explains that the Trice branch is completing more high-level quests because of this girl. Alec argues that if there was someone like this in the guild, he would have heard about it, but Zach just replies that the girl will be here soon. Just then, a young girl named Shiori comes there, and Alec is surprised to see the fragile-looking girl. As Zach talks with Shiori about some requests, Alec is busy examining her appearance and how she looks like a foreigner, which is why Zach wants her on this quest. Just then, Zach turns toward him, formally introducing Shiori, a B-rank adventurer, and he assures Alec that he will like it if she joins him on this adventure. Alec wants Shiori to prove her worth, but he doesn't say it out loud and just accepts the request. This was how Alec ended up in this jungle, but the situation still seems very wrong to him. Another adventurer, the archer, Linus, is delighted that they get the opportunity to take a bath during this campaign, and it just confirms how the rumors about Shiori being wonderful are true. Alec is also surprised by how serious Shiori is taking her Housekeeping Mage title. With her low level of magic, she couldn't help them in combat, so she used her magic to clean and cook during the adventure instead, and she named her own job. Jewel Sword wielder Clemens continues the conversation, explaining that Shiori shapes the ground using earth magic, adds water with water magic, and balances the temperature with fire magic. He adds that fire and wind magic is used to balance the humidity inside the camp's barrier, and the moisture is reused as water for bathing. Alec is surprised at how much he has, to which Clemens replies that he went on several missions with Shiori when Alec was not here, and her skills are truly amazing, which they will see in this task. Alec is surprised that she still has some more skills to show, and when they get back to the camp, he notices the air is better than before. Just then, he notices the healer Ellen sitting in front of Shiori, and at Alec's question, Ellen explains how Shiori is drying her hair by mixing fire and wind magic to create warm air. Shocked by the statement, Alec says that only a few of the greatest mages can merge 2 types of magic, to which Shiori calmly replies that she is an expert in the detailed work, and with her low magical powers, it is easy for her to adjust. Alec doesn't know if Shiori even realizes how great this is because merging different magic is something every mage dreams of, and people have been researching it forever. Even though Shiori doesn't have high-level magical powers, she is still more precise than many high-level mages. Soon she serves them dinner, impressing everyone once again as Alec's mouth is already watering just from the aroma. Shiori announces that they can ask for seconds as everyone thanks her and starts eating. Alec decides to taste the meat first, and the enticing taste of the ginger sauce makes him wonder how they are wasting the sauce if they only use it with meat. Looking at others, he notices Clemens mixing the sauce with pilaf, which sounds like a great idea to him, and he decides to follow suit. Everyone on the team seems to enjoy the food, which is a new experience for Alec, because this kind of thing never happens on any adventure. After finishing his plate, Linus praises the food, while Alec is thinking about how Shiori will wash the dishes. Looking towards her, he notices how she is washing the dishes with water magic, which makes him wonder if she will use the magic again to dry the dishes. Lost in his thought, he accidentally steps on the slimy thing on the ground, and realizes that it is Shiori's Ruri. Alec quickly apologizes for his mistake, asking Ruri if she is fine. The slimy thing just taps on his empty plate, and after some struggling, Alec understands that the thing wants to take away her plate. While Ellen helps Shiori, Alec just stares at the little mage. Thinking about her calm expressions is a rare occurrence. While the others talk about Shiori's next tasks, Alec finds himself thinking about how drawn he is to her. She's friendly from the east and hasn't been on the continent for long. Though she looks very young, she's actually 34. That night, as they lie outside, Alec comments to Clemens about how nice the ground feels. Clemens explains that Shiori used earth magic to soften the soil and wind magic to adjust the moisture. Alec's thoughts drift again. Everything here feels so comfortable. Just then, Clemens brings up the bag they saw after dinner. Alec had asked Shiori about it, and she explained it was a laundry net used to protect delicate fabrics. Everyone is surprised when Shiori explains how it works, so she shows them. She creates a whirlwind, adds soap and clothes into it, and lets the current clean them. Then she creates a pillar of water and adds fruit vinegar to balance the chemicals, keeping the clothes soft. Alec finds it all confusing but doesn't say anything. Ellen comments that Shiori is amazing, and Alec agrees, thinking about how Shiori has turned her weak magic into a strength through sheer willpower, using it to support the team. With help from the house mage, their progress speeds up. What was supposed to take 5 days only takes 3. Linus is thrilled to be close to completing their goal, while Clemens reminds him to stay cautious. Everyone thanks Shiori, knowing that her abilities helped them get this far. On missions like these, uncomfortable living conditions usually wear them down, but thanks to Shiori, things were much easier. Every adventurer knows how rare someone like her is. Suddenly, Alec remembers hearing that another party wanted Shiori to join them. He asks if she's planning to pick a team since she probably gets a lot of offers. The group falls silent. Seeing Shiori's gloomy expression, Alec quickly realizes he shouldn't have brought it up. Shiori finally breaks her silence, saying that she will just be a hassle for any team because she is a low-level mage. Shiori walks away from there, saying she has to do the laundry, and Alec apologizes to the remaining members for making everyone uncomfortable. Clemens reveals how Shiori's last party abandoned her to die, and Zack has vowed to protect Shiori after finding her unconscious in the forest 4 years ago. Since Shiori is a foreigner, she didn't understand the language at that time, and after slowly accepting the life of an adventurer, she joined a party named Akatsuki. As a foreigner, Shiori doesn't have anyone to look after her, so the team she had joined overworked her to the point that she was unable to move, and they left her in a dungeon. After listening to her story, Alec approaches Shiori and apologizes for bringing up the sensitive topic. Shiori quickly dismisses his apology, but Alec knows that she must still feel the pain from that accident, no matter how brave she acts. Shiori then thanks him for looking after her, and she is happy when Alec says that they are a team. He offers a hand to help her stand up, saying how they need to be rested for tomorrow's mission. Shiori holds his hand, while Alec is thinking about how she is very strong for returning to this profession even after what happened to her. The next morning, they finally face the beast's lair, and Clemens advises everyone to be careful since the beast is very dangerous. Linus cheerfully says how he wanted to eat Shiori's chicken karage after defeating this beast. Realizing that it is motivating to have something to look forward to, they all join him as Clemens says how he wants to eat grilled yakitori skewers with alcohol. Ellen adds that she wants to eat fruit and mint syrup, while Alec is looking forward to eating pork shogayaki. Shiori chuckles at how everyone has different choices and is surprised when they ask about her choice. When they return to the guild, Zack confirms that they have defeated a manticore and praises everyone for the successful mission. Everyone cheers loudly as Zack asks Alec about his opinion on the secret weapon. Alec generously praises how their camping was made easy just because of Shiori and asks if she has someone special in her life. He is relieved when Zack says that she has no such person and is about to walk away, but Zack stops him. He tells Alec not to mess with Shiori because she will be the one to get hurt at the end. Alec points out how Zack is being very sensitive about this and asks if he wants to keep Shiori to himself. Zack replies that he was the one who found Shiori and considered her a little sister, so it was his duty to care for her happiness. He adds that he will not forgive anyone who dared to hurt Shiori, even if it is the king's elder brother. Alec just agrees with him and then walks out of the guild. After spotting Shiori walking on the road, he stops her, and after softly tapping her hat, he tells her to get home safe. Shiori is stunned to get his attention like this and imagines that Alec will be the one to fulfill her wish to belong to a place. Shiori has received a message from her mother, telling her to cook something delicious from the groceries she has sent her. Shiori is not happy to miss her mother's call again and is planning to contact her tomorrow, but she suddenly starts to feel dizzy and like she is falling from a height. Shiori jolts awake in her bed, still in the daze of the nostalgic dream she had after a long time. In Trist City, everyone wakes up to the cathedral bells. After waking up, Shiori first washes her face with magic water and pours the leftover water into plants. After getting ready for the day, she starts preparing breakfast and lights the stone with the swipe of a magic stone. That is very common for household chores in this world. She puts her breakfast on the table, says thanks for the food, and digs in. She really likes the bread, but the overcooked yolk is not to her liking. Shiori is aware that she can't eat raw because this place is not Japan. The mention of her hometown, Japan, reminds her how she will never be able to return there. Coming out of her thoughts, Shiori tells Ruri to be prepared, as they will go out after eating. Soon she is walking on the road and greets a man named Marius, who addresses her as Little Shiori. The title doesn't settle well with her because she is already over 30, and somehow this reminds her how everyone here thinks that she is very young. She recalls how Alec patted her head earlier, even though their age difference is not much, and it makes her wish that she didn't look this young. Her train of thoughts breaks when Marius asks what she wants. Entering the grocery shop after him, Shiori tells him the different types of meat she wants to buy. Marius thanks her for always coming to his shop with a big order and asks if this is her regular shopping. Shiori agrees with her and then adds that she also needs some squash onions. Before she can complete her sentence, Marius cheerfully tells her that he has some extra tomatoes if she wants them. The offer confuses Shiori because she has grown some tomatoes at home. Listening to that, Marius comments on how Steridia is good for growing plants at home because in Dulgus you have to pay tax for everything, even if it is for home use. Shiori suddenly remembers how Marius is from the Dulgus Empire, the neighboring land that strongly believes in aristocratic superiority, and as a result of such beliefs, the people of the country are suffering. Shiori's memories of that place are not very good, and seeing her mood, Marius quickly apologizes for bringing this topic in front of her. Shiori assures him that it is fine, but he doesn't believe her and instead gives her all the groceries as an apology. Shiori's attempts to reject his offers go in vain, as Marius insists that he will keep feeling bad about this, and she has no choice but to accept the offer. Later, she is standing on the side of the road, barely holding the heavy grocery bags and talking to Ruri about how they will take them back. Just then, Alec makes an entry and takes the bags from her hands, saying how she shopped a lot again. Taking a look at Squash Ruri, Alec glances in the bag and asks Shiori why she is buying so many groceries. Shiori is about to reply, but just then someone from the side comments on how strange they look together. They both turn around and find Nadia, a mage, walking toward them as she says how they went on a quest together recently. As they greet each other, Alec is surprised to find out that the girls are familiar with each other and asks them about it, to which Nadia replies that everyone in the guild knows Shiori because she sells them portable foods. It surprises Alec that Shiori also does this, and seeing his reaction, she casually replies that the guild lets her work there once a week. Nadia interrupts her, saying that these portable foods are very popular because they are easy to eat while traveling anywhere. This reminds Alec about the food Shiori made for them on a mission, and Nadia adds that if he wants to know more about it, he should let Shiori show him her work since he is already carrying the groceries. She asks Shiori if she wants him as an assistant, and Shiori agrees with her, asking Alec to help him carry the stuff. A little stunned, he happily agrees to help her, and soon they reach Shiori's apartment. Alec is thinking about going to the guild to find a new job, but he is content with just eating almonds instead. At the entrance, the guard welcomes and thanks her for the omelette she gave him yesterday. While discussing the caretaker, they enter Shiori's apartment, where she thanks Alec for helping her and asks if he wants to have some tea. After Alec agrees to tea, Shiori heads to the kitchen while he looks around the apartment, noticing many books that show her love for reading. He spots some forms on the table and asks if they're food orders. Shiori confirms and explains that she made a menu so people can pick what they want for her next sales day. He notices that Clemens is also on the list of buyers, but instead of mentioning that, he states that a lot of the foods on the chart are snacks. Shiori seems excited by his observation and says that she has been having the same thought for a while. They just chuckle at that, and Alex suggests that they should just act oblivious. After serving him the tea, Shiori takes a seat across the table as Alec continues that there are a lot of things like soup and risotto, which is very strange because he thinks they will not sell well. Shiori just tells him to wait for a moment as she runs to the kitchen and comes back with some of her portable food. Alec is a little curious about how to eat this dry food, so Shiori explains that they need to put it in a vessel first. After that, they add hot water to it and stir it for a while to fully prepare it for eating. Alec tastes the final product and is surprised to find out that it is tomato soup. At his question about how she did it, Shiori explains that she uses some custom-made magic equipment and does a process called freeze-drying. First, she quickly freezes all the food items with ice magic and then uses wind magic to dry them. Since this method doesn't affect the texture or taste of the food, it is a very useful technique. Alec finally understands her method and is sure that these items will be expensive because they are easy to carry. He asks Shiori if she thinks of this herself, to which she replies that it is a method commonly used in her hometown. Alec is surprised to hear anything about her hometown for the first time, but seeing her solemn expression, he changes the topic and instead asks her if she is going to prepare these frozen items now and if he can be her assistant. After preparing the items together, Shiori and Nadia are selling the preserved items in the guild. The stall is crowded with people, so Nadia shouts at them to make a proper queue. Shiori thanks her for the help, and Nadia shows how annoyed she is by the immature behavior of grown-ups. Just then, Clemens makes an appearance and comments that they are very busy today. Clemens is surprised when Nadia tells him how Alec assisted Shiori and asks if they were alone in her house. Shiori replies that Ruri was also there, to which Nadia suggestively asks if Alec flirted with her as a thank you. Shiori's cheeks turn red at the comments, but she stays silent as she gives Clemens his change and keeps thinking about how foreigners are very bold. Earlier, when she was with Alec, she thanked him for the help, as she took a lot of work from him, and she promised to thank him properly some other time. Alec replies that he is happy that they got the chance to discuss a lot of different things, and he didn't like seeing her upset. His strange statement confuses Shiori, but before she can try to understand anything, Alec places a gentle kiss on her hand and walks away, saying that he doesn't need any of the thanks. While recalling the incident, Shiori can't understand his actions can be considered flirting. Sometime later, Shiori is standing in front of Zack, a little confused to know that someone made a special request for her. Zack replies that the request was from the Cathedral Orphanage and asks if she will accept it. Shiori takes the page from his hand, thinking about whether this is a regular request from the Cathedral, which is a town symbol associated with an orphanage. The largest contributor to the orphanage is the Margrave's wife, who often says that the lonely children need some kind of entertainment, so the guild sends different adventurers to them. The children from the orphanage usually make some specific request, like once they were interested in Linus' adventure stories, and before that, Clemens performed a dual sword show for them. The last two shows make it hard for Shiori to impress those kids, but she is determined to come up with something enjoyable. Zack thanks her for accepting the offers and goes to inform the orphanage about them. Shiori is about to leave from there with Ruri and is stopped by Zack, who tells her not to overwork herself. With a wide smile, Shiori tells him not to worry too much about it. Once she walks away from there, Zack notices how she called him Big Brother and then asks if Alec assisted Shiori. Standing beside him, Nadia replies that Alec seems very sincere, even though many people want to be with him. When Zack says that they don't know about Alec's true intention, Nadia retorts that she is just saying that it can happen. Her statement seems to irk Zack, who says that he thinks of Shiori as his little sister, and that it is his right to be protective of her. Nadia tries to clarify herself, but Zack stops her from saying anything else. He is well aware that his feelings are an obstacle for him, and they became the unbreakable shackles for him the moment he started thinking of Shiori as a little sister. At the Cathedral Orphanage, the kids are very excited to see Shiori coming there with Ruri. Shiori thanks the management for inviting her in reply, to which a man says they are grateful for her presence, and students are excited for her narrated pictures. The man is about to lead her inside when one of the kids rudely comments on how they invited the witch today, and says that they should have invited the master swordsman again. The manager scolds the kid named Toby and then apologizes to Shiori, who dismisses him, saying that it is natural that the boys will like the sword show more. She then adds that since Toby wants this, she will narrate a story about the knights. Once everyone is seated obediently in front of her, Shiori announces that today's story is about the Persica Knight. The narrated picture she is presenting uses illusion to tell the story in space, and it is an illusion magic she came up with herself. Children stare at the images in awe as Shiori narrates that there was a kingdom where a couple lives happily near the mountain. They didn't have any kids, and they prayed every day to have a child of their own. One night, a beautiful goddess visited a couple and told them they would receive her blessing if they ate the Persica fruit from the top of the mountain. Trusting her words, they climbed the mountain together and ate the fruit. Soon after, they were blessed with a baby boy, whom they named Perleric. He grew quickly and became a strong, trusted knight. As Shiori tells the story, the children's faces light up with excitement, and she feels relieved that it's working. She goes on, after becoming a knight, Perleric set out on a journey with a necklace and fruit wine from his parents. His mission was to rescue a princess from the Demon King. Along the way, he befriended 3 heroes who joined him in the fight. As the story reaches its climax, Shiori uses her illusion magic to bring the legendary battle to life. In the end, Perleric and his team defeat the Demon King, rescued the princess, and return home, where Perleric marries her. The other 3 heroes were considered the knights of the kingdom, and they all led a happy life after that. Once the story ends, children are silent for a moment, and then they all erupt into loud cheers, praising Shiori's story and how beautiful the princesses were in the story. One of the children says she never read this story in any books and asks Shiori if she came up with it. She tells them that this story is from her hometown, and the children once again say how great it was. Shiori is happy to see their reaction since she adopted this story from a tale called Momotaro and made it more suitable for Steridia's environment. When she stands up, she wobbles on her feet, worrying children, but she quickly assures them that she is fine and instead asks if they enjoyed the story. Before she can hear their answer, the manager calls her to the side and gives her a small bottle of something, telling her to drink this as soon as she leaves from there. At Shiori's question about the drink, he explains that this is medicine for magic energy recovery, and they got this as a donation, so she should take it. She is stunned to get the drink as the manager notes that she is exhausted by using so much magic. He then turns toward the children, telling them that they need to say goodbye to Shiori. The kids are not happy that she is leaving so early, but they just politely thank her for today and ask her to visit again for more stories. Toby arrogantly adds that he doesn't mind listening to stories about heroes and apologizing on his behalf. His friends add that Toby just wants to be an adventurer. Shiori giggles at their banter and says that she will try to find out if a swordsman can visit next time. She then walks out of the orphanage, and after making sure that the children are no longer looking at her, she sighs heavily, letting her exhaustion show. She admits that she overworked herself since keeping the visuals and audio synths in the illusion uses a lot of magical energy. She drinks the medicine the manager gave her, feeling guilty that her magic couldn't be stable for just 10 minutes. Just then, Ruri starts to poke her repeatedly, and Shiori understands that the slimy things want to give her a ride, but she doesn't want to pressure her like that. Making a little slime, she shows how her magic is returning, and Ruri happily goes to consume the slimy thing. Looking at the light on her hand, Shiori can't suppress her desire to see a specific place using her illusion and makes a model of a busy city on her hand. Just a glimpse of her hometown is enough to cheer her up a bit, and she is happy that everything seems so lively. Even though she still remembers everything clearly and is determined not to forget anything, she can't stop the memories from slowly becoming hazy. This is all happening because she is no longer Izumi Shiori. 4 years ago, she suddenly got transported to Steridia from a different world and became Shiori Izumi. Later, Clemens and Alec are practicing. As their swords clash, the children from the orphanage cheer excitedly, shouting about how cool the old guys are. Alec winks at them, slightly annoyed at being called old, but lets it slide. Turning to Clemens, he admits that this little sword show for the kids wasn't such a bad idea, even if he hadn't been sure it would work. Not that he could have refused Shiori when she asked. Soon, the children swarm them with questions about adventures, joining the guild, and all sorts of things. It's more overwhelming than the sword fight. Then, breaking through the chatter, Toby shyly asks if Shiori will visit again. Alec is surprised at how Shiori suddenly became the topic of discussion, but the students rudely tell him that it is not his business. Laughing, Clemens comments that they also want Shiori, and Toby is shocked to hear that there are other people who want Shiori. Seeing his reaction, Clemens tells him how a lot of men are after Shiori, and he will have to work hard to compete with them. After their show at the orphanage, they are walking back when Alec asks Clemens if there are really a lot of people who want to be with Shiori. Clemens looks at him suspiciously and explains how Shiori is very beautiful, and her fragile self makes an appearance from time to time, making a lot of men want to protect her. Alec asks if he is also one of those men, to which Clemens admits that he also wants to protect her and continues how a few people tried to approach Shiori after the tragedy that happened with her, so he knows it feels like he is taking advantage of her weakness. Listening to the Akatsuki incident, Alec can only recall the few things that Zack told him after he came back from her mission. Suddenly, Clemens asks if he wants to know more about that, even though he can only share the things he knows. He still thinks that Alec should know the things that Akatsuki did to Shiori. Clemens starts the story 4 years ago, when Zack was still taking part in quests, and he found the woman unconscious in the forest on one of his quests. They tried to question her about her identity, but she couldn't understand anything, and the only thing they found out was her name. Eventually, she learned enough language to talk with other people, but the country name she mentioned couldn't be found anywhere on the map. The questions that had been swirling in everyone's mind for months, Shiori herself had no answer to any of them. When Nadia and Zack were discussing what they should do now, Shiori approached them and asked permission to work there, giving her hope of finding her way back home. At first, Shiori helped with different jobs around the guild, while she started to learn more about the culture and language of this place. Clemens recalls how Shiori returned the book she borrowed from him, and he was surprised at how quickly she had finished it. His thoughts are interrupted by the physician Nils, who comments that Shiori could only speak broken sentences, but she is really quick to learn anything he teaches her. Shiori was determined to learn everything about this strange place where she had to survive alone. Despite her efforts, no one wanted such an unusual foreigner to work for them, and since Shiori knew a small amount of magic, she decided to work as an adventurer at the guild. No matter how small the job is, Shiori puts her full effort into every task, and soon she started to become known to different parties. Like always, Shiori cooked for her team, impressing them with her skills, and they looked forward to fulfilling the mission with her help. People only took her in to replace their absent members, but when she started to show her skills during these missions, rumors started to spread about how she could make every campsite comfortable for living. Eventually, any party that wanted to gain more success started to hire Shiori, which helped her find her way to survive in this world using her talent, and she became a D-rank adventurer. One day, Ranvald, the guild master at the time, introduces Shiori to a party named Akatsuki. Ranvald told her that the adventurers in this party are also D-rank, but they want to get promoted soon. They have a bunch of vanguards, but they need more rear guards, and he thinks Shiori will be the perfect person to strengthen their team more. Shiori was hesitant to join the party since it was the first time she got an offer from a fixed party, but Ranvald assured her that she would be fine, whispering how she must strive to find a place she can call home. This gave her the last push, and she decided to join this party. With a new addition to the team, Akatsuki became more stable, and it was visible to everyone that their skills were eventually improving. 3 months after that, Nils, the herbalist physician, was the first to notice that something was wrong. When one team returned from a quest, he was confused to see that Zack hadn't returned with them. When he asked about it, one adventurer told him that Ranvald had sent Zack on an important mission, while another mentioned that most A-rank adventurers are usually tied up with long-term jobs. Noticing he seemed lost in thought, they told him not to overwork himself, but Nils didn't respond. He was too focused on how different Shiori seemed compared to the rest of her team. Ever since Akatsuki reached C rank, their progress had slowed, and they were trying to improve by any means they could, even buying new gear, but Shiori was still using her old equipment. Nils briefly wondered if they were doing this for some hidden reason, but brushed the thought away, reminding himself that Akatsuki had always been a solid team. With time, things became worse, and one random day, Clemens and Nadia found out that Shiori had moved out of her apartment. The lady at the apartments told them that someone else on Shiori's behalf had canceled her contract, and they don't know where she is now. Clemens has noticed how Shiori always wears old equipment and follows her team with a solemn expression. This made him so worried to the point that he decided to visit them. When Zack came back from his adventure, Nadia worriedly approached him and informed him about the weird condition of Shiori. This was the time when Shiori wouldn't talk to anyone else and only visited the guild to get her regards, staying at an unknown place. Even when she wanted to buy something, someone from the team was always with her, making it look like they didn't want to lose her sight. Growing more suspicious with time, Zack decided to conduct a private investigation and encountered the horrible truth. They find out how Shiori has been bearing every expense of her party. Clemens showed him some papers that they got from a concerned clerk, and the papers clearly showed that someone had messed with Shiori's assessments and experiences. He suggested that Ranvald also seemed to be involved in this, and Nils was shocked to know that someone had reported Shiori's rank as lower than her actual abilities. Naida adds that it is true because Shiori is the only one who hasn't been promoted to C rank yet. Their suspicions were confirmed. Akatsuki has been taking advantage of Shiori, and it looks like they have found out some weaknesses in Shiori. The 4 of them were ready to confront Akatsuki with the evidence they had collected. but they didn't get a chance because Akatsuki returned from their direct mission, and Shiori wasn't with them. Once questioned about her, the team said that she was badly injured, so they couldn't bring her back because it would have endangered their lives. Furious, Zack almost beat their leader to find the information about Shiori, but he just said that it was against the rules to reveal anything about the client of the direct mission. Since the guild doesn't keep records of the direct request, they had no way of finding out about Akatsuki's mission. After waiting for several days, they had almost lost hope, but just then, the guards from the gate informed them that they had found Shiori unconscious near the west gate. They rushed there and found Shiori passed out in the slime that looked like it was just there to keep Shiori safe. After regaining consciousness, Shiori shared how she found the slime on their mission and fed it with her preserved food. Shiori nearly lost her life from exhaustion and was rushed to the hospital, where she slept for several days. Despite Akatsuki claiming she had serious injuries, none were found. The guild questioned the team repeatedly, and eventually, the magic swordsman, rumored to be Shiori's lover, confessed the truth. He explained that while helping a client through a labyrinth, they came across valuable gear. The client let them keep it as long as they stayed focused on the main task. Shiori had been overworked for months and collapsed inside the labyrinth. Instead of helping her, the team left her behind to collect the loot, even taking her personal belongings. Not long after, Ranvald, who had supported Akatsuki, was dismissed from his position. With Shiori gone, most of the guild's jobs were reassigned to other branches. Clemens turns to Alec and says this is why most men don't pursue Shiori anymore, then asks if Alec still feels the same way about her after hearing the truth. Alec is about to reply to him when they hear a commotion from outside. Clemens apologizes to him for dismissing their conversation and then goes out to find out what is happening around there. A man informs him that a team of knights and some nobles are creating chaos while looking for some adventurers. He is not aware why they didn't approach the guild and just knows that they conversed with a young female mage and then took her away. Alec is shocked to hear that, and before he can take some action, Ruri starts poking him in the side. Noticing the slime, another man says that they took the girl, who mostly stays with the slime. Clemens and Alec are both stunned when their suspicions are confirmed that Shiori is the one who was abducted. On the edge of the western forest, right outside the city of Taurus, a team of adventurers has set up their camps and is doing their usual activities when two angry adventurers come there. Alec grabs the nearest person by the shoulders and, while shaking him violently, asks where they are hiding Shiori. The adventurers want to know their identity, but Alec ignores their question and just blames them for kidnapping the female mage from town. The man replies that they didn't do anything, and before Alec can retort, someone from the side asks why they are making so much noise. Looking up, Alec is shocked to see Shiori walking calmly toward them as she asks why they came here. Once overcoming his shock, Alec quickly asks if she is okay, as they had heard that she had been abducted by the team of adventurers. Shiori calmly replies that they didn't kidnap her and they were just very worried while looking around the city, so she talked to them. Since they looked in desperate need of help, she decided to come with them. After clearing up the misunderstanding, Alec turns toward the nobles, who inform him that their master has disappeared in western woods with his assistant. They went into the city to ask for help from the knights, but instead they met with Shiori. He continues that both men are not well dressed, so they need to find them before dark, or they will be in serious danger. The noble guard then turns toward Shiori, who assures him that she will try to search for their master through magic. Alec is curious about how she will use magic to find them, but didn't get the chance to ask her because Shiori told everyone to stay quiet. Alec's mind is still wandering about how the search magic can only work in a small space, like a room, and he never knew it could be used to find people. Ignoring the crowd around her, Shiori is busy doing her work and creates an illuminated circle on the ground through magic. Alec finally seems to understand what she is doing, and hearing his mumbling, Clemens asks him to explain everything, as he doesn't know much about magic. Alec explains that Shiori is rotating her magical powers very narrowly and then sending them toward the forest. Instead of using the same power on every side, she is extending her power by using the mesh pattern, which helps her in searching the large area of the forest. Clemens remarks how difficult the magic must be, and Alec agrees, saying only Shiori can manage it since it requires complete focus. Watching her closely, he adds that ever since the Akatsuki incident, Shiori has become skilled at hiding her exhaustion. Only her pale face gives it away. Suddenly, Shiori announces she sends two humans about 500 meters away, sparking urgency in the camp. A noble insists she come with them to pinpoint the location and nearly drags her, but Alec intervenes, warning that her magic is too draining to use lightly. The noble protests that time is critical, but Alec snaps back that people aren't tools for nobles to use at will. Shiori steps in, calmly telling Alec she's fine, and insists that if the lost ones don't survive, no one can help them. She assures him she knows her limits and can handle it. Rummaging through his bag, Alec first gives her medicine to recover her magic, and then announces that he will go with her so she doesn't have to walk. They all run in the forest, with Alec holding Shiori on his back. Shiori says that their target is heading toward the other, and they are running like someone is after them. Shouting loudly, Alec informs the knights that their master is running toward the other side. Clemens is leading the group as he quickly runs in the direction that Alec mentioned. While running, Shiori asks Alec to put her down, but he refuses, saying that they will just slow down if he stops to put her down. Well aware of his surroundings, Alec notices a crowded place ahead of them, along with the sound of Clemens' attacks, and he figures out that they are facing black, crawling giant spiders. The scene is shocking to everyone, and even though the spiders can be killed using fire magic, it is not very applicable here. They still decide to keep moving by crawling under the webs, and Shiori clears the path ahead of them. Alec is once again amazed by how Shiori is protecting herself, while also keeping the vanguard safe, and she is the best person as a rear guard. With the amount of magic she can use, he doesn't understand why she calls herself a housekeeping mage, because she is an incredible mage. Alec orders them both to stay near the trees while he contemplates using fire and water magic to reduce the number of spiders. Clemens tells him not to make such jokes because he doesn't want to die when all the trees start burning. Shiori interjects that she can get rid of these spiders, to which Alec asks what her idea is. Instead of letting Shiori act, Clemens argues their only option is to kill each spider one by one. Hearing this, Alec finally tells Shiori to go ahead with her plan. With his permission, she uses magic to create a bubbling water current, mixes in foam, and hurls it at the spiders, killing them instantly. The group is stunned by her magic, but has no time to ask, as the young master is desperately trying to wake his unresponsive assistant. Realizing the spiders used paralytic venom, Shiori rushes over, reassures him it's treatable, and asks if he's okay. The young boy replies that he is okay, but she doesn't look very well because she is very pale. Alec quickly looks toward Shiori, trying to gauge if she is tired, as he understands that with her low magical powers, she is very weak. If her powers were even in the average category, she would have been able to work more independently and might have become the strongest mage. Realizing that this is not the right time to think about these things, he tells Shiori that she should go back to rest, as he recalls Clemens' advice from earlier. When she insists that she is fine, Alec picks her up in his arms, and when the other tries to stop him, he argues that he can't let someone like Shiori walk on her own. He then tells Shiori to not overwork herself and tells them if she is feeling exhausted. Looking directly into her eyes, Alec assures her that they will not abandon her and then turns toward Ruri, telling her the same thing. Once they are all back in the tent, the young master apologizes for worrying them like this. With somber expressions, he continues that he is doing his best to act like his late father, but going outside after so long, he couldn't control his excitement and wandered far away. His noble guard replies that they are just thankful that something serious didn't happen to him, and they are hopeful that his assistant will wake up soon. The young master, Claus, replies that his words are comforting, but he is not happy to know that they almost kidnapped a rear guard and forced her to defeat the enemy. The noble guard timidly replies that he is not very experienced in fighting, but Claus scolds him for making excuses and tells him to apologize. Following the orders, he quickly says sorry to Shiori, who replies that she willingly offered help. Interrupting her, Clemens says that there are some rear guards who don't fight, so it is not good to treat them the same as vanguards. Alec further adds that he should just keep this in mind whenever he wants adventurers' help in the future. Just then, a man peeks into the tent, saying that he came here to investigate the magic Shiori performed because they think she practiced something illegal. Shiori replies that she just used soapy water, and it was fortunate that she has some soap in her stuff, which she just bought from the market. She explains that spiders have oil and fine hairs in their respiratory organs, which reject water, so they can't suffocate in any way. Since she used soapy water, it bypassed the oil on the spiders' bodies and entered their respiratory system, suffocating them. The investigator warns her not to use it too often in the forest, and Shiori agrees, while the others are impressed by her quick thinking. On the carriage ride back to town, Shiori sleeps peacefully as Clemens and Alec reflect on the day. Clemens notes how hard Shiori works to hide her exhaustion and admits they're partly to blame. After what happened, everyone began treating her like she was fragile, which likely made her feel worse. Alec recalls his earlier words in the forest as Clemens adds that, like Alec, they need to be more persistent in staying close to her, even if she tries to push them away. Looking a little sad, Clemens says that he failed to do that. But before Alec can confront him about his statement, Shiori wakes up. They inform her that they are back at the guild, and as soon as they get out of the carriage, they find some adventurers glaring furiously at them. In the past, Alec has refused to train the adventurers Sheila, and the infuriating memories return to her as she watches Alec get off the carriage with Shiori. Her fellows add fuel to the fire, saying how an ordinary house mage keeps clinging to Alec. They keep gossiping about how Shiori might have also attracted Clemens toward her, and she should have another suggestive title instead of house mage. Mia and Vivi, the gossipers, are interrupted by Sheila, who says with a sinister smile that she has an amazing plan. Meanwhile, Shiori is in the forest with Ruri, both gathering berries from around. She is amazed at the number of berries and can't believe she found such a beautiful secret spot in the forest, all thanks to the owners of the general stores. Shiori is celebrating the first day of her long-overdue holidays today. Most of the time, she procures ingredients or orders things from the general store during her holidays so they can be later helpful on her mission. The berries she is currently collecting are used to make a tasty sauce that can be eaten with meat, and she is hoping that it will be more popular with women. Just then, she notices Ruri flinching on her spot and assures her that she is well aware of the situation. In these last few days, Shiori has had the feeling that someone is following her, and now it looks like that person is also here. With the use of her magic, she can feel 7 presences, adding to the 3 people she has been feeling since yesterday. What worries Shiori most is how to handle the 3 girls standing before her, though she hides her concern and calmly asks what they want. She recognizes them as recently promoted C-rank adventurers. Sheila immediately mocks her, calling her useless and questioning how she reached B rank. Shiori stays quiet, recalling how the clerks mentioned these girls were skilled but troublesome, one reason people avoid their branch. Though uneasy, she maintains her composure and repeats her question. Mia says they want to understand how someone like Shiori, who only does basic tasks, got promoted. Ignoring the jab, Shiori calmly asks again what they really want. Her cool attitude frustrates Sheila, who snaps that Shiori must be too old to understand and suddenly draws her sword, claiming they want to test her skills. Shiori quickly notes that all 3 girls are multi-classed, swordswoman, archer, and mage. Even though they all work for the guild, it is against the rules to attack someone defenseless when she did nothing to anger them. She can't believe that these girls are ready to attack when there are witnesses around, and she just then realizes that they might be unaware of other people around. Sheila tries to provoke her again, but Shiori is lost in thought about how most adventurers are able to sense danger approaching them. Shiori suddenly recalls a conversation with Clemens and Nadia, where they explained that sole adventurers often develop skills faster, while groups that avoid real danger struggle to grow. She now understands why these girls can't sense others approaching. Calmly, she says she doesn't want to fight, reminding them that the guild forbids private duels. But instead of backing off, the girls sneer, accusing her of being rude and claiming she must enjoy seducing younger men. Shiori is stunned as Sheila continues, saying they saw her with Clemens and Alec recently and assume she's using charm to gain favor and avoid strict task evaluations. Pointing the sword at Shiori, Sheila says that they will kill her today, so Alec can finally look at other things. Her sentence is interrupted when Shiori shouts at her to stop saying such things, but Sheila just tells her to fight with them if she wants. Ignoring her, Shiori says that they can say anything about her, but the things she is saying are very insulting toward the respectable adventurers. She continues that no one can seduce Alec or Clemens because they are both sincere with their work and only do what is right. Her voice sharpens with anger as she declares that people as disrespectful as them have no right to insult fellow adventurers. The girls didn't get a chance to respond as Shiori's anger flared. Determined to prove her worth, she rose into the air surrounded by her magic, ready to attack. But just in time, Alec and his group stepped in and stopped her. Earlier that day, they had noticed the 3 girls following Shiori and decided to quietly trail them to prevent trouble. Later, while resting in the jungle, Alec asked if Shiori's illusion was impressive. Nadia explained that Shiori had fused raw magic with illusion, sending it through her search net to create a terrifying atmosphere. Everything the girls saw was just part of the illusion. When someone brought up how one of the girls used to flirt with Alec at the guild, he honestly said he didn't remember, which made Linus grumble about how Alec always ignores the popular ones. Nadia added she wasn't a fan of jealousy between women either. Feeling guilty for being the cause, Alec wanted to step in, but Nadia stopped him, warning it would only make Shiori feel worse. Linus and another adventurer insisted on reporting the girls, worried they might play innocent later. The guild acted, but lightly, demoting the girls one rank and suspending them for a month despite the seriousness of their actions. Shiori's delicate appearance often makes people doubt her strength, and though many admire her, some, like those girls, resent her. While she was angry about the insults to Alec, what truly hurt Shiori was how they judged her own worth. She was just glad it was over. On one random day, she was thrown into this unknown world, and after waking up, everything she was familiar with had disappeared. She never received a task that was very important or got any powers that would make her the main character. The only thing she had was the truth that she is an ordinary woman who has been tossed into another world. With the small amount of magic she possessed and the knowledge she had from both worlds, she did her best to come up with new techniques and survive in this world. All this went in vain because people still thought that she was useless and was being very arrogant with the skills she had gained. She doesn't know what else she can do to make herself important. And once she is sure that she is left alone, she breaks down in tears, not being able to bear the pain anymore. She is coming back to the guild after collecting berries when she bumps into Alec, who is surprised to see her there. Shiori starts to panic when she remembers how her eyes must be swollen from crying, but Alec doesn't let her worry anymore as he quickly envelops her in a hug. Shiori doesn't pull back, just soaking up his warm presence, and she is wondering if he was the one she had felt earlier. Alec pulls back after a moment and gently holds her hand, saying that they should go inside because the gates will be closed soon. Shiori can't help but notice how his hands are as warm and gentle as the first time they had been close to each other. She doesn't have the heart to pull away and strongly holds his hand, wanting to keep feeling safe like this for a while longer.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love.